Welcome to the VectorVest special presentation, this week titled Midas Touch Prospects. My name is Todd Schaefer, Manager of Research for VectorVest, and I'll be your presenter this evening. The Midas Touch system is a fantastic system for finding high momentum stocks with staying power. Wouldn't it be great to get in on these Midas Touch stocks just as they're being formed? We have a subscriber that's been trying to do just that and asked for our help. Tonight we'll use his example to show how you can express your ideas in the VectorVest Unisearch tool. Let's start by establishing what is a Midas Touch stock. For that answer, I'll turn to the VectorVest views. In the VectorVest program, I've gone to the Views tab, and I've brought us to March 28th of 2014 to highlight Dr. DeLito's essay from that week titled The Midas Touch Watch List. While I'm focusing on this one essay, Dr. DeLito has written extensively on this topic, and of course also during its development. We've even held a previous subscriber contest called the Midas Touch Challenge. So lots of resources available on the topic within the VectorVest research. I selected this essay to highlight tonight's relevant information. He begins, "It just got a whole lot easier to find Midas Touch stocks. Yes, you could look at graphs of the top VST stocks, the top stocks in the top industry groups, the hottest stocks in the top Derby portfolios, or any one of several other places. But that's just a potluck procedure. The Midas Touch watch list, located in the cherry picking folder, solves the problem. There's no luck of draw here. The Midas Touch watch list contains only stocks that meet the Midas Touch cherry picking criteria. Every one of these stocks has been found to have their 10-day stop moving average, the 65-day stop moving average, and a 40-day relative timing moving average hitting 3-month highs. So you can access a daily Midas Touch watch list going back as far as January 2nd, 2009. Open it and sort it any way you wish. You may also use the Midas Touch watch list in a Unisearch search." And let's scroll down and pick it up again in the 6th paragraph. "The lesson here is that stocks in the Midas Touch watch list are high momentum stocks. They go up fast and can come down fast, so you have to watch them and take your profits when the taking is good. Don't worry about getting out of a winner too soon. There's plenty more where that came from. The Midas Touch watch list." And so let's take a look at that watch list. So on the Viewers tab, we'll come down to the Watch List section of our toolbar, click the Cherry Picking folder, and click on to open the Midas Touch Stocks watch list. We curate this list for you, updating it on a daily basis. So all of these stocks currently have the 2 moving averages of their stop price and the moving average of RT at 3-month highs. Let's take a look at some of the graphs. To keep it simple, I'll just click on the Graph All button, and I'll shorten our graph duration to 3 months. In the parameter window, you can see that we have on the graph the moving average of the VectorVest stop price for Kirkland Lake on a 10-day moving average and a 65-day moving average of the stop price. On the bottom graph, the subgraph, we have a 40-day moving average of RT. So to be a Midas Touch stock, the moving averages, the short term has to be above the long term, and both need to be at 3-month highs. Easily we see here with Kirkland Lake, that's the fact. RT, the moving average has to be above 1 and at a 3-month high. So that's the test for inclusion in the Midas Touch watch list. If we add a price to the graph, as we scroll through the graphs, that's doing a pretty good job of finding stocks that are in uptrend. And if I extend our time frame from 3 months to 1 year, looking back at those same graphs, most of them are also pretty good from that longer term perspective. And this leads us to our case study for tonight. Can we find these Midas Touch stocks early, before they've hit their 3-month highs? And more to the point, how can I use the VectorVest toolset to explore some of my ideas? So let me take the opportunity to introduce our case study for tonight. It comes to us via a letter from one of our subscribers, Raphael. He writes, I want to tell you about a strategy I've developed. Using part of your model, I buy stocks after 3, 4, 5, even 10 days. The 10-day moving average of stop has crossed over the 65-day moving average of stop. Because the search shows stocks that just met this criteria, I've spent 6 to 7 hours just to find one, and sometimes I just can't find even one. Would you be so kind and create a strategy like this? A lot of your subscribers and I will be very, very pleased. This is my criteria for picking all of those stocks. It's quite simple. Buy stocks after 3, 4, 5, even 10 days. The 10-day moving average stop has crossed above the 65-day moving average of stop. The 40-day moving average of RT of the stocks has a value of at least 0.95. The stock has a hold or buy recommendation. The earnings per share chart is going up from left to right. As a minimum, the stock must trade 100,000 shares per day and increasing recently. The price of the stock must be higher than $10. Sincerely yours, Raphael. So here's our list of criteria. Let me show you how I would approach the question in the Unisearch tool. Back in the program now, I've gone to the Unisearch tab, and I have a clean parameter list from a new search. Our first listed parameter was we wanted to buy stocks after 3, 4, 5, even 10 days that the 10-day moving average of stop has crossed above the 65-day moving average of stop. It just so happens that as we were developing the Midas Touch searches, we created custom fields for the moving averages of stop price. So if I click in the parameter window, and I go to Stocks, VectorVest Fields, I find some moving averages, and lo and behold, a 10-day moving average of stop price. I'll click on it. Now, of course, you can build your own custom parameters. If you'd like help with that, just give us a call in product support and we can help. But in this case, we wanted the 10-day moving average to be higher or crossed above the 65-day. So let's just look for the 10-day moving average of stop price to be greater than the 65-day moving average of stop, which was further down in the list just off the screen due to my lower resolution for recording of this video. So this parameter is simply showing me stocks that have the 10-day moving average of stop price above the 65-day moving average of stop price, not the crossover. They just currently are in that orientation. So this takes care of our 3, 4, 5, and 10-day look by simply saying I want the 10-day to be above the 65-day. Our second parameter was that the moving average of RT, the 40-day moving average of RT, was higher than 0.95, so getting it just before its crossover above 1, we hope. So let's say that the stocks, VectorVest Fields, 40-day moving average of RT, just at the bottom of my screen, you can see it there, and we're going to say it needs to be greater than a custom value of 0.95. Next, we're looking for the stock to have either a hold or a buy rating. A couple ways we could do this, but I'm just going to say stocks recommendation is not a sell. Our next requirement was that the earnings per share chart is going up from left to right. Now, time frame is important here. One of the approaches that VectorVest has taken that's been very successful over the years is to look for stocks whose earnings per share have gone higher using the delta operator. We're going to say the earnings have gone higher over the past 13 weeks. And they need to go up positively, so we're going to say above 0. The delta operator looks at the percentage change of the indicator's value, so we're saying over the last 13 weeks, the earnings have gone higher greater than 0. Haven't said how much, just that they're higher over the last 13 weeks. Next, at a minimum, the company must trade 100,000 shares per day. So we'll go back to our parameters and say stocks, price volume, average volume is greater than custom value of 100,000 shares. And we wanted to see that volume rising recently or increasing recently. We'll say stocks, price volume. The average volume has been trending higher over the last week. Next, we want the price of the stock to be higher than $10. So we'll come back in stocks, price volume, price actual, greater than or equal to 10. And I have one more parameter to add, that the stocks are filtered by watch list. They are not in the cherry picking watch list called Midas Touch stocks, which means they don't currently meet all of the criteria to be on the Midas Touch watch list. So Midas Touch stocks certainly have their 10-day moving average above the 65-day, but to be a Midas Touch stock, they also have to be at a 3-month high. Midas Touch stocks have a 40-day moving average of RT that's greater than 1, but also at a 3-month high. Midas Touch stocks don't have a buy, sell, or hold recommendation requirement, nor do they have an earnings per share requirement. We've sweetened the mix again by requiring average volume over 100,000 shares, and that average trending higher over the past week. And finally, the price needs to be greater than $10, and so these requirements are further defining the universe of stocks we'll consider, while also looking for Midas Touch candidates by virtue of their stop price moving averages being in a bullish crossover. And of course, you never want to forget to think about the sort order, because here we're saying in this universe of stocks that meet these criteria, which ones do I want at the top of the list to be brought to my attention first? We'll leave that with our default VST descending sort. So let's see what we get. Let's run the search. And let's take a look at some of our candidates. Again, I'll hit Graph All. And our first candidate, PCMI, is a pretty encouraging result. We've had the crossovers of the moving averages of stop, and the RT has crossed over above 1. We've not yet become a Midas Touch stock because the 65-day moving average of stop is not yet at a 3-month high. So we're finding this a little bit before it made it to the Midas Touch watch list. Here's another interesting candidate, iRobot, IRBT. Price is in an uptrend on our 3-month graph, but the moving averages, while they're crossed bullish, have not reached their 3-month highs yet. RT, while it has crossed bullish, is not at a 3-month high either. So this one is not yet on the Midas Touch list either. And so broadly, that's the kind of price performance we're seeing across this list of candidates. Of course, we also wanted to see rising earnings per share patterns, so let's add that. I'll take off the moving averages of RT. And we also wanted to see rising volume, so let's put that on our graph. So let's put our data line on the 14th. That's when we ran our search on the data from the close of market on the 14th, and we see indeed earnings are higher over the past 13 weeks. Volume is higher over the last week. Earnings higher than they were. Volume higher than it was a week ago. Earnings, even though it's trailing off, is still higher than it was 13 weeks ago. Volume rising. And so we see the search has found stocks that are meeting the criteria as we've identified in our search. In an effort to keep this simple for you to replicate at home, we've added to the Unisearch tool in the cherry picking group a search named Midas Touch Prospects. And you can see the parameters matching the parameters we built in our own search. And of course, like any pre-built VectorVest search, it's easy for you to modify it and save those modifications in the Unisearch tool. So at this point in the process, we've created our search. We like the candidates it's finding. The remaining question is, does it work? Do these stocks perform well over time? Well, there are several ways to test that. Study the historical graphs. Use the Quick Test tool. Use QuickFolio so you can also see their equity curve performance. Use the backtester so you can optimize money management rules. And paper trade into the future, taking advantage of real-time data. Or all of the above. For our example, I ran some backtests to try to optimize its performance. Let me show you the result. Before I give it away, here are the settings for the backtest. We called our backtest MT Prospects, Midas Touch Prospects. We traded a $100,000 portfolio, paying $4.95 per trade. We're not using margins, and we're exercising our trades at the next day's open. In the trading system itself, you can see we're trading the Greenlight Buyer RT Kicker market timing signal. That signal has three conditions, or three situations. For the up situations, our automation rules are to buy stocks from the MT Prospects search. We'll use a trailing 20% stop loss, taking our gains if a stock gets to 40%. In more settings, we'll trade a 10-stock portfolio, automatically replacing positions. No limit on the number of positions opened in a day. We'll not close any open positions on the green lights. We're going to invest the average portfolio value in each position. Trading odd lots, no repurchases of stocks we currently own, and the rest of our defaults. For the down situation, we'll take no action, which means we'll hold on to our long positions, allowing their stop criteria to take out the trade if it goes beyond the stop limits. And then finally, for the neutral situation, the yellow lights in this case, we'll take no action here as well. So let's see how we did. We analyzed a time frame from the beginning of 2016 to current. We had an overall gain of 61% with 46% winners. That annualized to 19% with a maximum drawdown of 16%. Not bad performance. If we take a look at the equity curve, we see that it did struggle in late 2016, and it did pull back with the correction we had in the markets most recently, but has responded very well to this most recent rally coming up off the Christmas lows. You, of course, might be able to improve the performance beyond what I've done here. However, I recognize that a lot of our subscribers may not be inclined to do this kind of research. I enjoy it, but maybe you just want to keep it simple and easy. You might have recognized in the Unisearch tool there are already several preloaded searches in the tool related to the Midas Touch methodology. So let's benchmark the performance of our new search against those that already exist. Here's what I found. Using the search Midas Touch VST descending, we use the same portfolio settings with the same timing. We used a pre-existing search from the VectorVest database, Midas Touch VST descending. We changed our stop criteria to a 10% trailing stop. The rest of our settings stayed the same. And what we found is a slightly better performance at 74% gain versus 61. Slight improvement on percentage winners, 48 to 46. Our annualized rate of return at 23% versus 19%, although twice as much trading activity, but not too bad considering that's over 3 years. We had a maximum drawdown of 10.53%, some 6 points lower than our first test. Looking at the equity curve, a little more resilient in those trouble spots of 2016 and 2018, although a little less responsive in this most recent rally. But of course, you'd want to do further analysis, trading them in real time, and perhaps enhancing your performance by using cherry-picking techniques. The bottom line here, VectorVest has all the tools you need to develop and test your ideas. Whether you'd like to take the bull by the horns or keep it simple, let the power of the program help you achieve a profitable portfolio. And don't underestimate the power of the VectorVest recommendations. In closing, good trading systems are products of good trading ideas. And our product support team stands ready to help you explore yours. Thanks for watching.